Hello, this is Liz with Crafty Devotion, and today we will be embellishing this. So I'm going to be using E6000 and fabric tack, and I will still use my hot glue gun a bit. I think I turned it on anyway. I might turn it off, I don't know. But let's see how this goes. I'm going to use these products here. I don't use them very often, but I know people do a lot. But what I did with my fabric tack, I think it might make it more manageable. I've been using fabric tack. I mean, my bottle's almost like half empty. It's not very manageable, so I'm going to do a test. I took a plastic bag and I put some fabric tack inside of it, and I snipped a little corner on the edge. So I want to see if this makes it a little bit easier to work with. If not, then I might just go back. What I wanted to do is I decided that I'm going to cover the main part of this bag with a lovely fabric lace. Now these fabric laces, I did not get this from burlapfabric.com, but I did see that they carry this type of a fabric, and look how pretty that looks on there. This is going to be transformed. In my mind, it's going to be a little bit more vintage. So I wanted to use one of my vintage laces, but I wanted to show you that you can actually do the same thing, but with a newer lace, and it still look. This is like an ivory cream color. Now let's also, instead of using any of those, I am going to use my own lace, and I want you to look at it. This is a piece of vintage lace that I actually found at a secondhand store. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this instead, because I want this bag, for me, I decided that I want it to have the colors I like. I like vintages with a little bit of reds and maybe rosy colored. So we're going to see how we get to that point. This is one of the laces that I got from burlapfabrics.com, but guess what I did to it? I tea dyed it because I want to use, actually this is coffee dyed. I love coffee dye. I love the color it gives it. So I coffee dyed this lace along with other laces I was dyeing when I was doing a kit along with this one. And then I decided I wanted to put this one at the top, and I'll show you what it's going to look like there. And then this is a piece also from burlapfabrics.com, and this is going to go here. So this is the parts I'm going to do, and I'm going to attach it all around. What I'm thinking is that this bag is going to stand here, and I don't want my lace to be dragging if I end up putting it down on the floor. I could actually, but I think I'm going to pull it up, and I'm just going to attach it here, and I'm going to have it meet on this side will be the back. So I'm going to glue along this edge here, and I'm going to start from the bottom because I want the bottom to be even, and I don't care as much about this. I want the bottom to be even so it's not actually touching the bottom. Now you can, by all means, you know, extend this and use one of the laces down below. So let's say you could actually put this here if you want and make it go down. The reason I wanted to show you this part too is that if you were going to use one of the fabrics, you would place the fabric first. You would place the lace on the fabric, and then you could attach the fabric to the bag, and you would use the straight edge of your fabric or ribbon that you have. So a lot of times I just wanted to make sure and point that out. That's what you want to do. Mine already has it attached. So I'm going to test this. This is a cold glue. Okay, let me see if I can put that closer. I just squeezed it out of my bag onto there. Attach it and let's see what happens. And actually, let me show you closer if I can. I think you can see, but okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a little bit here, and it's actually working. It's squeezing out pretty well. And this one is fabric tack. And let me tell you how it's working. What I feel is I feel that it's grabbing a little, so it's not just going to fall right off. And that makes me happy. using the bag. It's actually working very well. And the other thing I like about it is that you can actually lay it down and then lift it up, because the drying time is not as fast as hot glue, and kind of shift it over if you want, because for a while there I had a wrinkle and then I was able to do that. And I'm actually going to let this dry, and then after it dries a little I'll probably trim that, and we'll work on the rest. But I want to show, look how pretty that looks and how simple that looks. Looks beautiful to me. I really like it. Now I was gonna glue the top up here, but I decided, well, I'm gonna put, it's such a sheer like mesh type of a lace that I'm gonna actually put a lace right there. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna, so I made sure it would meet all the way around. So what I did is I took this lace here, and I decided I want to use half of it. I know that right here I am going to put a latch. Let's show me. So this is a button latch. I carry these in my shop, and I actually have them. They're like 50 cents each or something, but I really want to use these. I think they're really cute, and I did use it for one other project. So I know I'm going to be putting this right here. So I decided I'm going to center the fans like in the space between. So I'm just looking that as my guide. I'm using the straps right here as my guide as to where I'm going to put this. It doesn't have to be exact, but I decided I don't want it sticking up, because I'm thinking in the future if I use it, it's going to end up folding over. And I welcome any suggestions on glues that you've used. I've heard that there's a glue called the best glue ever. I think I want to buy some of that and try that glue out, but I haven't been satisfied with fabric tack because it was been hard to work with. But now I think I'm changing my mind because it has to do with the application process, and you'd think that they would have a better way to apply this stuff. So one of the other things I like about it is that you can actually put it in a lot of places, and since it's not as fast drying as your regular hot glue, you can put a lot down and then go back and glue it, and then when you put it down, it's not hot, so you're not afraid you're going to burn yourself with lace. So far this is what I learned, that that's the center point on my lace, and I'm going to place it right there, and I will finish doing this all the way around, and I will be back when I'm on the back so you can see what I do there. I attached this entire thing all the way around, and this is still loose here. And what I did is I just went all the way around, and I gently pulled it up, making sure that it's up all the way around. And then here, so this should be dry because I've been gone about an hour or so. And I am actually so far pleased with this fabric tack glue. It has done a really good job of, I think this is also a glue that needs curing time, so it's not completely permanent. So now I also stuck something inside of my bag because I felt like it kept on collapsing a little bit. It's because it just was folded for probably storage and postage, but that's why it's doing that. But I basically went all the way around and I pulled my thing up. I wasn't planning to glue like every part of it. I was planning to glue the bottom and the top. So this is how I've done it. And so I'm going to call this part my front, but although I might call this part my front, no, because I actually, well, the way it ended, it doesn't look as centered on this side. So I might call this my front because this is more centered. Okay, now I actually had been, this is what I plan to do. This is how I wanted to do it. But I do want to mention, because I recently did a kit, there are other laces you can also use. It doesn't have to be the same lace. For example, if you had a lace this thick, like I actually put in one of my my kits, then you could have actually just used this entire lace like that. That would just look gorgeous. Just as gorgeous as this one will look. Or you can decide to use this one because I also put this one in. Look how pretty that one would look. So a lot of times when I design, especially if I'm designing something when I've been sent something by a company, it really does help me make my decisions on how I'm going to design something. I want to use burlapfabric.com's laces, and they have beautiful laces, so that I think sometimes it helps me to be able to create because I don't have as many decisions to make. Sometimes the decisions will take the longest. So this was the other thing I was planning on doing. And so I'm going to attach this, and again, this is my front of my bag. Now really with adding this could be the end of it, but I'm actually going to do a bit more. So let's start again. I have been away from this bag, and I actually put more glue in it before I left, so I just decided to use this little bag. You can use a sandwich bag, whatever bags you have. And what it does is you realize it keeps your glue from drying out, but then at the same time you should be able to glue it. I want to see if it actually still comes out, because what I did, yep, it still did. Look, if you can see that, it came out. So I'm actually going to put it right along this line right here. Okay. I do want to kind of have the center of my lace and make it the center here, because I want them to meet very close on the other side, and I want this to be quite high. I think that's nice, not too low. I want this combination going on. Let me see if I like that. Yeah. Okay, so can you see how now this lace is just taking on a different look? Look, see, I can put it on this whole line and I don't have to hurry, because yes, it does dry pretty quickly, but not nearly as quickly as it would. It's going to dry for, I'm not going to put it all over. Not as quickly as hot glue, and plus, what I like about it is that it's not going to seep through the lace and burn me, so there we go. And I have this beautiful flower. Here's a sample of it with a center. I actually made these flowers in one of my tutorials, and I wanted to use this flower, and I got these from my friend Crafty, and I think these are going to look beautiful on it. But I do want to show you, although I made those decisions, I do want to show you some other things you can use. So this is something that I actually tea-dyed, and I tea-dye, and I like it to look kind of grungy tea-dye. And it was a lace attached like this, and this would look lovely right here. I decided I wanted to do these colors, and I liked how this looked, so this is probably what I'm going to do. All right, so this is the flower I'm going to use, but I want to show you that there are various types of flowers you can use. So here's another flower that I've made, and this is just a flower I made. I like to make flowers. And here's another one, and you can see how the changing of the flowers will make it look different. So you make your choice of flower, and here's a simple one too. This one I actually put this type of a trim inside of your the vintage bags, and this will look pretty. But that's not what I decided to use. I decided I was going to use this, and this is a silk flower made with my AlaLiz technique, and it's the same. You can actually use this flower, and you can make an organza flower. I made it in the same way I made this pink one that I showed you last time. And here was another color that I was considering. I was considering this color here, but this is what I decided I wanted to use. So then I decided I want to put a doily behind it. So you can use a simple doily like this. I considered also, here's another one, it's a little small. I tore a doily apart and I was thinking I would put this here. So there's a variety of things you could do, but what I decided on, well, why not use more of the burlapfabric.com's lace? And so I made my own kind of doily. This is the one I made before, but I want to show you how to make this one. And it's very simple. And this is another thing you can do that, you know, although you're sort of sewing, you don't have to get out your needle and thread, is what I see. You can make a flower with wire. Now, this wire, I just happen to have some, but you can get wire out. Do you have wired trims or laces or ribbons? Take the wire out of one of those and you can use that wire. And I want you to look to notice, I'm going to take some of this out. I'll take it out from this side, I think, because this is the way I drew it. Okay, so this is the lace that, can you see these? This one is so easy. All you do is I ran this wire through these little holes. I just did not want to get out needle and thread, and I said, oh, well, I have some wire and I want this flower, this doily, to be bigger. And what I like about this idea is that you can make this any size you want, and see how I can adjust the size depending on the circle, and it's going to get covered so it won't matter. And then you can decide what size you want it to be. So once you tie it up, you knot it, you kind of get an idea of what size you want it. So again, you see how that's going to go and stick out from behind. Okay, then you adjust the evenness of your flower. And of course, you want this wire to be inside, not outside. And we're gonna glue right over this wire, so I don't have to cut it, but you can trim it if you want. But make sure you even out this, and if you need to, you could glue these pieces together. But I didn't see a need for it because it's going to end up getting glued on top anyway. So I'm evening it out, placing my flower of choice on top, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to place it here. I'm thinking. I'm not sure. So I have to decide, do I want my flower? I can put my flower here. I can put my flower here. You don't have to use a flower. But I actually decide I'm going to put it in the center because I like these centered. So I'm going to kind of use these to help me to determine that, how far to put it. So I want to put this kind of like maybe between this and this. So I'm kind of centering it a little bit. And then I can put my flower there. And this is just what I decided. There are other things you can do. I have, I can still add this later on, like this green leaf. You can add it if you want to put a little bit of green in there. Okay, but I'm not going to do that right now. I may do that later. I know these are the main areas how I want to do it. Trims, you decide what you like. I decided I wanted to try this maybe, or I have this trim. And actually I saw that burlap fabric.com, they also carry trims like this. I saw it in their shop, although this is not from them. But you can see how changing out what you put on it will make it look different. So it depends on your look. So I could use that. I have these flat back pearls. Okay. And what else did I have? Oh yeah, these were I think these are my favorite. I might try and use these. I got these from my friend Crafty Devotion. I could put this up here. Maybe I should think about it more. When I'm not sure what I want to do, I actually take the time and step back and look. So I'm going to put some more samples out there. I'm experimenting, and I'm not 100% sure, but I decided I want a beautiful cameo. Now, I love this cameo, but I think it's kind of big for the flower, so I was really thinking of putting this smaller cameo. Because in the flower, I love the flower. That I also have other cameos like this one. And I am going to add a little bit of red to it, so the red might work. Oops. But I'm really pretty sure that's going to be this one. Determine the back or the front. And I'm getting my glue. One of the things I also did with my glue is I made sure that I'm trying to make sure that I place it down on something that, one of my mats where, you know, that's removable, everything's removable, because I'm going to show you the string. See how the strings, can you see that string? Well, that string can be irritating there, but it's totally a lot less than when I was just using the other, I was using a stick or using the squeeze bottle. This still is less. Again, if you want to learn how to make this flower, I have a tutorial on this, and I will put it in the cards up above. It should flash in a little bit. I'll do that before I post this video. There's a lot of things that hopefully I don't forget. I'm putting a lot of glue. I don't really use this glue very much, so I don't know how much I really need to use. But you see that string? So I'm rolling it up. Okay. And what's my top? What's my bottom? I'm pushing it into the center because that's where I put the glue. And it's the center of that flower. There's a hole there, remember? So I decided I want that flower there. Okay, that's pretty. I love the flower. These are actually real beads. And they're on a string, kind of like the beads of a necklace. Or maybe like they put beads on a string and then you buy them and you take them off the string. But I'm going to use them. First time I've ever used this type of a bead, but I think they're gorgeous, so I'm gonna, even if they don't all fill in beautifully, I'm gonna still put them on. I'm gonna try and straighten that out. That's one thing, is that they looked a little crooked, and I'm able to pull on them and straighten it out. Okay, so I'll be back when I'm done with that. I found that the glue kept on globbing, and I had to remove a piece that was collected on the edge in there, and that once I did that, the bag seemed to be working better. I don't know if I'll be able to knot that. I know, I'll put the glue on there, that little blob of glue, that might work. It worked. Okay, so there's that.